Hi, it's Liz at Fort White. Welcome to Fort White Alive at Home. We're so excited to share this virtual programming with you while you're staying safe in your own homes. So stay tuned. Your Fort White Alive host is up next to guide you on your next adventure.
Hi, my name is Jenna and I work as the program manager at Fort White Farms. Here at the farm every spring we are busy in our greenhouse here seeding for our gardens. As you can see behind me, that work has already started for the season, and today I'm going to be talking about starting seedlings so that if you're interested in doing this at home or in your own greenhouse, you can get some tips from us. So first of all, when it comes to your materials, you're going to want something to plant your seeds in, some kind of seeding tray. So this is typically what we use in our greenhouse. It has 128 small cells that you can plant your seeds in. However, if you're doing this at home for a smaller garden, you probably won't want to use something quite as large as this. So there's many different options you can try. Even some smaller pots like this, something like this would also work. There's plenty of DIY options too that people use, such as egg cartons, solo cups, newspaper pots, so lots of different things can be used to start your seedlings in, depending on what works for you. You'll also want potting soil, of course. So here at the farm we put together our own potting soil mix. It includes a few different ingredients. The main ingredient is peat for our potting soil mix. Peat is really great at holding moisture and holds moisture for a long time. Our potting soil mix also includes perlite, which helps kind of aerate your soil and helps air and water move through the soil easily. Gives the plant's roots oxygen. It also includes sea soil or compost, which is of course important for providing your plants, your growing seedlings, with nutrients, as well as holding moisture, and then water. So it's 4 parts peat, 1 part perlite, 1 part compost or sea soil, and 1 part water. So you want your potting soil to be somewhat damp, just enough to form a loose ball, not overly wet when you start your seeding. And as well, you're going to need seeds, of course. So today I'm going to be seeding some cherry tomatoes. It's that time of the season when we're starting these. You can get a lot of information from the back of your seed package, which will tell you the time to start your seeds, as well as the germination rate. So for tomatoes, you want about 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost, which here in Manitoba, or here in Winnipeg rather, is May long weekend typically. So now is about the time that we would be starting our tomato seedlings, and they should germinate in about 5 to 10 days according to the seed package. One of the other things that we use in the greenhouse is vermiculite. So that's what's in this blue shaker here. And we use that to dust on top of our seed trays once our seeds have been planted. And vermiculite helps prevent damping off, which is a fungal disease that can affect your seeds and seedlings. So it's very helpful for that. And then the other thing to think about is your location. So if you're starting your seeds in your house, you don't necessarily need your own greenhouse, but you do need a sunny location, especially a south-facing window where your seedlings are going to get lots of light during the day. If you don't have that available, you can also use grow lights inside your house. So just depending on what you have available to you at home will determine what kind of equipment you need for growing your seedlings. So your seedlings are going to need about 12 to 16 hours of light per day. So it needs to be a pretty sunny location and often supplemented with some kind of artificial light as well. So we're going to fill our tray with soil here. No matter what type of tray you're using, you want to lightly fill it with your potting soil. You kind of spread it out with your hands. And it's very important to make sure that if you're using a tray like this that has a bunch of different cells, or whatever type of tray you're planting your seeds in, you want the soil to be evenly distributed between each cell, because when it comes to watering, it ensures that your seeds will be watered consistently, and you're not going to have some of your seed cells drying out before other ones. So consistent filling with soil is important. We're not packing the soil in too much, it's just loosely in our cells here. I'm going to wipe away the excess. And you can kind of pat the tray down. Here we like to use another tray on top just to kind of uniformly press down very lightly on our cells here. I'll just add a little bit more. Okay. Now most seeds want to be on the surface or close to the surface of the soil. They need light and warmth and water to germinate. So the way that we do it here, these are very tiny seeds. We place one seed per cell on top of the soil, and you can kind of lightly pack it in. Like so. We don't want to press it too far down into the soil. We'll cover our seeds with a bit of soil after this. And you just go along filling your tray with your seeds. So once you've seeded your whole tray, we're going to dust the tray lightly with another layer of soil just to make sure that the seeds are lightly covered. And you can lightly spread that out with your hands. And then, as I mentioned, we dust the tops of our trays with vermiculite. So just in another light layer, we can put that on top, and that will prevent damping off. And then the final step, which is very important, is to label your seeds. So label your seedlings rather. Especially with the varieties, if you're planting multiple varieties of one thing, it's a good way to make sure you know which varieties you have once your seedlings start to sprout. So here at the farm, we make use of old Venetian blinds, cutting them into little pieces that make great plant tags. So I'm just going to write down the variety of tomato that I've planted and stick it in my tray so that I know what we have. And here it's very important because, as you can see behind me, we have many different types of plants and varieties, and so it's important to be able to keep track of that. So once you've seeded your entire tray, you'll want to water right away. One great way to water your seeds gently to start is by placing the tray in some shallow water like we have here. This way the soil will absorb the water from below, and you'll know when it's fully watered because the top of the soil will be damp to the touch. So you'll probably you can leave it in water for 10 to 15 minutes, just checking on the moisture level of the cells. And then once your cells are nice and damp to the touch, you can take it out of water, place your tray wherever you're going to be leaving it, either by the window or under lights. If you're not seeding in something that's easily placed in water, you can also use a watering can. And once your seedlings start to grow, this is a great option as well. So some kind of watering can like this that has a really gentle flow option is great to use. So just making sure that whatever it is gently watering the tray. So you want to be careful not to overwater your seedlings, but you also want to make sure that you're watering them on a consistent schedule. So make sure that you're checking every day or sometimes twice a day to make sure that the cells are damp to the touch. And once you see them starting to dry out, you make sure to water them. So those are some of the basics of starting seeds for your home garden. One thing you'll want to keep in mind is that as your seedlings start to grow, they may need to be potted up into larger pots because, of course, as your seedlings grow, they're going to continue to need space for the roots and access to nutrients. So you'll keep an eye on them. You can usually see underneath the tray if the roots are starting to grow out the bottom, it means that the plants are going to need more space. Or you can gently pull your seedlings out of the tray to look at the root ball. If it looks very full of roots, then you're going to want to make sure that they have a little bit more space to continue growing before they move outdoors. The other thing to keep in mind is that when you're making the transition for your seedlings to move outside, you want to harden them off, which basically means gradually introducing them to the elements slowly. So over the course of a week, you would put your seedlings outside in hopefully a sheltered and not super directly sunny space, so that they have the opportunity to experience the outdoors but aren't overly impacted by it. And gradually they kind of build up strength so that when they're transplanted into your garden, they don't experience too much shock from that transition. So that will hopefully support them in becoming nice, strong, healthy plants. So I hope you've learned something here today, and good luck with your spring seeding.
Thanks for tuning in, and really hope you enjoyed the program. A big thank you to the Province of Manitoba Safe at Home Grant, which allowed us to bring you these virtual programs. Make sure you check out fortwhite.org for a lot more programs and activities. See you again soon.